And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Steve and Teddy here. And we have a very special guest tonight, Mr. Devan Jordan. Hi, Devan.
Very good, thank you.
How are you? Good. So before we start, just want to tell everyone that we will be covering the most recent events, of course, but we've got a session packed with Devan tonight where we're going to be asking a lot of questions about using a prep center and when you should do it, how it works and all that. So we will be covering that. So just give it a minute or two to allow people to log on and we're going to start. And also, if you have any questions, please type them in the Facebook group. So we're going to be answering as many questions as we can. So we're going to be with you for a good 45 minutes to an hour if we need to be. So people are joining, that's great. Yeah. Give us a like or even a big love if you want. We like to know that you're here. No hugging, yeah. Virtual hugs.
Hey Michelle, Michelle's with us. And we've got Daphne with us as well. Hey ladies, how are you doing? How are you guys coping as well, your end? Are you still sending stock in or having issues like we've experienced? And obviously what Steve said, we'll cover that with Devan during the Q&A. So anyone else that is logging in, I think Hayden's with us as well. Give us a thumbs up or a comment in the chat box below just to let us know that you're here and you're with us live. Cool.
Good. Let's do this. Right. So, Teddy.
Yes.
What's been going on?
What has been going on? Oh my God. I think, Devan, is your phone being absolutely off the hook and your email account with what is going on at the moment in the world? We all thought that Amazon, the beast, the giant that it was, wouldn't do what they've done. Luckily, they haven't completely shut down shop, but they have limited us quite substantially. So I think it's really important because I've had endless comments, questions come through. Steve has as well, and I'm sure you have. Over the last kind of week, and especially since the announcement was made yesterday. So kind of what's your view on it, Devan? How has that affected you, what they've done, and how are you kind of coping with it at the moment?
So basically anybody that doesn't use Seller Central will have not seen what kind of happened yesterday. So yesterday there was basically, I'm going to call it like a shutdown on Seller Central up until about 2 p.m. I was completely oblivious to what was going on. I was trying to get on every forum there was, and at the same time I was contacting all our prep clients, keep them updated, but we couldn't do anything basically until 2 p.m. and as you can imagine, we're getting deliveries in and not being able to process them.
Yeah.
But it's kind of half back up and running now. I think there's 6 categories you're now allowed to send stuff into, but that is it. So like you say, you didn't think they'd do this, but it is what it is. They have to do what they have to do, and we've kind of just got to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and for anyone tuning in, and we've got Charlie that's just tuned in as well. Hey, Anna. For anyone tuning in that missed the news, that's been focusing obviously on the schools closing down, that was announced earlier on this evening. Yesterday morning, and before they announced it in the UK, me and Devan were actually having a conversation over Messenger, whereby they had announced in the US that they had shut down kind of all FBA shipments coming in from third-party sellers as well as other suppliers that actually sell on their platform over in that marketplace. And they were, at that stage, they shut it down completely. They then opened it up to basically the exact same limited categories that we are now seeing in the UK. I think there's quite a few positives that well, definitely there's positives that can come out of this being within e-commerce and being an online seller. I think the demand is going to be absolutely, massive, and that's going to continue to grow. But the good thing is what we've been learning in the press and the news from Amazon is that they have taken on over 100,000 part-time and full-time staff within the US to cope with the demand. So obviously from a logistics perspective at the moment, they are absolutely under the cosh and they're making really good headway. The beast that is Amazon will do things very quickly. And I think the good thing is because they've done that over there already, there was a release this morning that actually they've taken on just over 10,000 new full-time and part-time staff in the UK to cover their 17 fulfillment centres. So whilst we're seeing a limitation at the moment with the categories that we can sell in through FBA, I do think that will be lifted as soon as they have sorted everything out their end. So if you obviously sourcing in the shops is proving quite difficult at the moment. Use every available channel, think outside the box. If you're not part of a deal service, perhaps think about that. Really think about kind of how you can pivot and change with these times. And if you can, and you continue to push through this, I think that the rewards at the end of it will be absolutely massive. So that's kind of the update at the moment. And there's 6 categories. Basically, it's household stock and anything kind of medicine or medical supplies.
Yeah,
as well.
anything that is critical or essential. And I think the word that you just said is so important. We need to pivot as a business. So as e-commerce sellers, we need to be flexible. We need to be nimble. So when things like that happen, we just pivot until it comes back to normal, because it will. Like Amazon will want to make more profit eventually on toys and games and other products. So they'll open the doors again once they've dealt with this crisis. So don't panic. It will come back to normal, but in the meantime, it's time to really take stock, no pun intended, but really look at, okay, what else can I do in my business? What systems can I put in place so that when the demand comes back, I'll be all ready to do that. So if you've just tuned in, we're here tonight with Teddy and myself and Devan Jordan, who owns a prep center called Family Affairs Prep Center. And tonight, really, we were not going to talk about this, but now that the crisis has happened, we said, okay, let's start with that, because we can't ignore it, because it even has a big impact on Devan's business. So we really want to talk about prep centers. And more people, because of the schools closing tomorrow, my son's probably going to be home for the next 4 months at least. So what do you do when you have like kids and all of a sudden a lot of us are going to be working from home full time? If you own an online business, this is the best situation, because many people won't have that luxury of generating an income from home. So now is the time to really set up your business and scale it up, because if you have an income to replace, this is the business you want to do it with. And so let's start with Devan, and we're going to ask you questions specifically about Prep Center. So do you want to maybe tell us your situation, where you're based, and then we're going to ask you some more specific questions. And guys who are watching tonight, if you have any questions that we've not covered, just put them in the group, and we're going to ask them as well to Devan.
Yeah, so we're a prep centre, and I'll go over what a prep centre is in a second, but we're based in North Lincolnshire, but we solely do online arbitrage, and we're just going into wholesale now, so we're accepting wholesale clients, and that means that you can likely access us with any other online supplier or wholesaler. They'll be able to come to us. Some people can't get online suppliers, which is why they'll look at a prep centre. They might be in the middle of nowhere where someone like Tesco doesn't deliver, so that's why a prep centre like us is quite good. At the minute, it's not easy for people, especially like you've just said with the schools. Time is now. You'd think it'd become open, but with people with children, stuff like that, people are really struggling. People with kids at home, they're not going to have the time to be able to prep the goods themselves. So like it was before, with you at work, you might not have the time to prep the goods. Things haven't really changed now, so that's where my business comes in and kind of offers a helping hand with that.
Yeah, I think talking from experience, it was about 18 months before I actually personally outsourced the prep. And I think, why didn't I do it sooner? And you've hit the nail on the head saying about the kids are from Friday onwards, they are going to be at home unless obviously anyone has got childcare. So now is the time to start. Now is the time to secure a place with a prep centre. If you're still prepping those goods, you're just going to get busier. So also with the downtime that we're seeing, if you outsource your prep, you're then able to focus on the other area of the business, the key performance indicators, the ones that are going to generate you money. And that's all about sourcing. And like I touched on earlier, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to source. So you need to spend the time and really become an expert in doing that. But you won't have the time to do that unless you look at the areas in which you can kind of outsource to the professionals.
So for those watching tonight, if you're not familiar with a prep center, do you want to tell us when you come into the process and what you do for the customers?
Yeah, so like you've said, if you've not got the time, we're there to offer a helping hand. So what we can basically do is take away everything after you've ordered the product. Everything after that, apart from maybe customer feedback and repricing, we will look after everything after that. So the product comes to us, so we look after the storage. We look after the prep, so the polybagging, the bubble wrapping. We store all our equipment here, so your house isn't cluttered with bubble wrap and bags and boxes. Again, storage option is available if you didn't want to send goods in straight away, so your house isn't filled up. And then we will send everything, and we'll process all the computer side of things as well, which I've noticed a lot of prep centres are starting to join in on now, but we was one of the first to actually take over the computer side of it as well. So we sort all the shipments out on our computer ourselves, based in this warehouse here.
So just to explain that a bit more granular, Devan, so people would buy the stock online, or they could buy it in store, get it sent directly to you, and then all they need to do is physically create a listing on Amazon, and then you take care of the rest. So once that information, they obviously put it in a prep sheet so you can see that, but once it lands on your doorstep, you then take care of the rest for that customer.
Yeah, so we ask, as soon as they've purchased it, they just add it to the ASIN, to their Seller Central, put it on our prep sheet so we know that it's coming and what ASIN it is. We take care of everything after that. So all you'd have to really do then is just check the prep sheet to make sure it's arrived when it's meant to arrive, which we all fill in. Our prep sheet's quite in depth, and if there's any issues, we're in straight contact with all our clients via Slack. So I like to think our communication side of things is really good. The prep sheet, like I said, is very in depth. So there's not really much you have to do after that, apart from until it arrives at Amazon, you've got to do the repricing and things like that. But everything that people don't really like, which is where the physical products are taking over your house, you're running out of room, we take care of all that for you.
And I think that's absolutely key, because before we started chatting and I actually started using your prep centre for my business, I remember looking through various, and there are quite a few prep centres within the UK up and down the country, and there was absolutely no one that would, unless you paid a premium price every single month, which was they're coming down in price, but they're still quite expensive, that wouldn't do that site, wouldn't do the online side. So you would not only have to get your products obviously sent to their prep centre, they do all the manual labour for you, but you still had to then create the shipments yourself. So your service completely automates that side of it. And like you said, all you would need to do is you would reprice, but you can do that at the time of listing. So as soon as those items are dispatched from the retailers, Devan takes care of the rest. And we've actually got, Devan, quite a few of your clients, our clients, in watching this evening, Charlie and Sally Ann, for example, who I was on a call with them recently, that said they absolutely love you. You're fantastic in terms of communication, brilliant service. So yeah, massive thumbs up with what you guys do that side.
Yeah.
So is there a minimum number of items that people need to send in the prep center to be customers of yours?
Not at all. So we've kind of pride ourselves on no big, too small kind of thing. So we've always said, it's in our FAQs on the website, that we know sometimes we've had clients before that have not sent things in for 2 months, because you never know what pops up. Say someone had an illness or you've had money problems. We don't want you then to be kicked out of our service, pay the £50 sign up again, run into another issue. So once you're signed up, the prep sheet's there, your place here is sorted. So when you want to send goods in, send goods in. If you're having a bit of a struggle, we can communicate with you, try help with you. But yeah, like I say, there's no minimum. We've had clients send in 10 items a month. We've had clients send in 3,000, 4,000 items a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the cost, you basically pay a sign-up fee, and then depending on how many items you send in, then you're going to have a price per item for prepping.
That's right. Yeah. So that helps as well with us not having a monthly fee.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you were paying £50 a month, but you wasn't sending anything in, you've lost £50 a month. Whereas us, once you've paid your sign-up fee, you only pay for what you send to us.
Yeah. Yeah. And the prep sheet you're talking about is basically a shared document that you share with your customers online, where they put in the information that they've done so far. When you take over, you fill in the rest of the information so that they know exactly where their products are, when they've gone to Amazon, and then they know when it's going to go live.
That's right.
A great tool as well.
Yeah, and I think also on top of that, Devan, your team's really great at dealing with kind of any damaged stock that arrives sometimes from those naughty suppliers. I know, especially over the Q4 period, that happens. Argos, is an example of one. But you know, you're really great at being accommodating, and the team are, in terms of liaising with your clients to to ensure that, you know, if a collection is needed on a specific day, it's collected on time, and then you communicate back. And usually you don't charge for that. So absolutely fantastic service. And Charlie's just replied saying you've absolutely kind of changed it for them in terms of their business. So and sometimes for a prep centre, I must say, being a seller, a new seller for almost 3-4 years ago, coming up to now, sometimes it's difficult for someone to take that next step. And I think what you said there about there being no minimum, a lot of other prep centres say, you know, you have to send in at least 100 units a week. But if you're just starting out and you really don't have the space, you know, you live in a flat or you've got an absolute house full, you don't want that mess in your house, then, you know, there is no excuse not to kind of sign up.
Yeah, we've had a few clients that I'm guessing they're kind of wary about joining a prep centre. So they've carried on doing their retail arbitrage, their online arbitrage at home, and they maybe sent us one box worth of items just to see our process and how it works. With us offering the free trial, it's pretty easy to not panic with us, I believe, and hopefully just try out the service and see if it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it does.
So are there any products that you can't prep at your prep centre?
Before the last few weeks where they brought in the hazmat program, there was hazmat, but now they've brought that in. And apart from the coronavirus causing this category delay, apart from that, when that's all sorted, there is now, I don't believe, any items we can't prep.
Cool, that's great. Yeah, because if you're not aware, Amazon has now opened the hazmat products to many sellers. If you've not received a notification, just request it from Amazon. But more and more sellers now can send in hazmat products through the FB8 program. Before that, you could only do it if you fulfill the products yourself. So that's great news as well for more sellers like us.
Definitely. How does it work, Devan? Because we've had a lot of questions in our group over the past kind of few weeks. So I did a post about 4 weeks ago now, sharing the link, and there are quite a few people have actually been accepted on the program. So they're like, brilliant, that's great. What do I do now? And I think because grocery and some health and personal care items are now available, if you are ungated in those areas and you're on that hazmat program, you know, it's fair game. There's lots of stock out there that you can actually send into Devan and get listed. So does it work with UPS? Do we need to use a different courier? If you can just kind of explain that process as well.
I'm pretty sure we've still got to really look into it ourselves because we've had our first client that has started to use the hazmat program. But I'm pretty sure you can do it the same as FBA. You just have to make sure you've identified that product as a hazmat product, even though you are sending it into FBA. Cool.
Perfect. And that would usually be, and if normally what would happen is if you had a product in listed on within your Seller Central FBA inventory that wasn't hazmat and then accidentally or suddenly went into hazmat review, they would then provide you with a notification. You might then need to submit an exemption form. Sometimes you could just get away with filling in an exemption form, giving them basically what the product was and the ingredients. But in some cases, it's SDS certificates, which are a lot more difficult to get because usually the retailers don't have them and you have to go direct to the manufacturer or the wholesaler in some cases. So with the hazmat program, what it means is they're giving you a big green tick that you can sell it. And 9 times out of 10, what it means is they have received that documentation therein by one seller. Touching wood, that doesn't change. That's what we've learned. So anyone that isn't on the hazmat program, definitely get on it. And then as soon as you are using Devan's Prep Centre, you can then start to get those goods in.
So when would be a good time for a seller to start using a prep centre?
Right now.
Yeah, because sometimes some of our customers say, I'm going to wait until I get to X amount of sales every month. And we always say, no, think about outsourcing your prep as early as possible, especially with people like you who don't have a minimum that you need to send in. There's no reason really not to use a prep center because, as you said earlier, you're going to end up losing one of your spare rooms or your living room, and someone, if you share that house with someone, they're going to say, can we have the living room back now because it's full of boxes and tape and bubble wrap everywhere. So definitely worth considering as early. Also, most people don't like prepping. So some of them enjoy it, but most people don't really enjoy prepping. So when you want to outsource something, always think, what do I love and what do I hate? And anything that you hate doing, just outsource it, because there will be people who enjoy doing it. Yeah,
definitely. You must love it though, Devan. You built a business on it, so
somehow I do love it.
you got a tape gun and a belt. Just a few shout outs. So we've got Lauren that's joined us, Emma, hey guys, Kirsty, Jacobus, Julie, lots of people on tonight. Jamie, hey, Hayden also says great service, and we've got Andrea as well. Anyone that's just joined us, we're here with Devan from the FA Prep UK, talking all things coronavirus and Prep Centre. And if you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. We're monitoring that at the same time. Hayden's got a question just quickly on the hazmat. Do they need to let you know on the spreadsheet if it is indeed hazmat or not when it's coming in? Yeah,
that'd be a lot handy. I'll probably within April's spreadsheets, what we do is we make a new spreadsheet for each month. In April's spreadsheet, if we're looking to get a few more hazmat clients in, I'll be adding a tick box as such.
Cool. Quite a few members of our academy, actually, our 12-month program, are on the hazmat program with Amazon, so they will be no doubt listing lots of hazmat on their prep sheets for you. Jacobus has said he's already a garage and a dining room down, which is fantastic, so get signed up.
It will get worse.
Cool.
And people like Jacobus, for example, he's in a full-time job, so he's having to use his spare time, evenings or weekends, to do the prepping. So if someone is in that situation, you could be at your lunch break ordering products. You don't need to worry about when it's going to come to your house. It goes straight to the prep center. So that's a massive pressure off on your business, because all of a sudden you don't need to be home. You don't need to receive it and prep it and then organize the UPS collection, because the prep center does that for you. So do you also work with FBM sellers, or mostly FBA?
We're looking to really scale that up. Our contract for this warehouse is on a break in June, so we can choose in June to carry on with this warehouse or go to another one. We've taken the decision that we want to open up a lot more to FBM, eBay, Shopify, them kind of things. So we're definitely looking for a new warehouse. At the moment, we can take sellers on with FBM, but we're not actively advertising everywhere for people to join, because the space may not be there. We're focused on FBA because it's in and out. It's a lot easier to maintain space. But if we get a new warehouse sorted before June, that is something that we're definitely going to be pushing.
Okay.
Cool. I think we should talk FBM as well, just in general, because there are people that may not, and I know within our academy group today, we've had quite a few people say they wanted to order some stock from Morrison's and they can't either get a delivery until early April, or they can't get a delivery at all. So you might have to, if you're doing this business full-time or part-time and you need that additional source of income, you might have to venture out when it's safe to do so within the shops to see what's there. Alternatively, you might have to do a click and collect. So what's the routes around that? If they use your prep center, obviously they could use a courier to get the stock to you, and then you do the prep for them. There's a little bit less work from the client side doing it. But what's your tips and tricks, and how would they go about selling FBM?
Yeah, so we've had a few clients as well with retail arbitrage, just because you mentioned popping into shops yourself. Because online deliveries are very scarce. I know Ocado have shut their website down until Saturday.
Yep.
They're a big online seller. Tesco, I believe they're struggling with delivery drivers. I've seen advertisements all over.
Yep.
So retail arbitrage, obviously, like you said, if safe, is going to be quite important to people that need to keep it ticking. We've had many sellers send retail arbitrage products to us. A good one to use is Parcel to Go. So if you get on Parcel to Go, you can basically box up as big a box as you want, obviously different payments for that, and just send it straight to us as it comes, and then we'll pack it and prep it for you. With the FBM, it would run very similar to how the FBA would run. So it'd be similar to where you ordered it, if it's online or sent to us. You'd fill in the spreadsheet, again, letting us know that it was FBM. We'd store it, and then once an order comes in, we have access to your account, so we can see orders, and then we've got everything we need here to then process it for you. So with the coronavirus hitting like it has, FBM could be an option for the categories that you weren't able to sell in before.
Cool.
You just reminded me that I was not social distancing enough from Teddy.
Don't touch your face. I wanted to be in a separate room tonight, but he said
Yeah.
no. Anyway, cool. Okay, and I think that honestly, you know, if you are using Devan as a prep centre anyway, you might have to get through this period of time, prep yourself if you can, and send it in, or via FBM, consider that. The other opportunity that we've also been discussing within the academy was cross fulfillment to eBay. So not a lot of people realize this, that if your stock is actually currently in Amazon at the moment, I would certainly look at the pricing, ethically price it up if you can, or certainly don't price drop at the moment, because that demand is only going to get greater. But be ethical about how you do it, not like Amazon's done at the moment, where they will penny underprice you and then they're suddenly, you know, tanking that price way higher than what it should be. But from a cross fulfillment, what I mean is anything that you've got at the moment sitting at home that you can't sell, try and list it on eBay. You know, see if you can sell that stock on eBay. But equally, if you've got dead stock in Amazon at the moment that you need to get rid of, so it's coming up to the 6-9 month mark inventory, and you need to decide what to do because it's burning a hole in your pocket, you can list it on eBay, and then when it sells and you're paid for via PayPal, you can actually create a fulfillment order in Amazon and get it sent directly to the customer. So that's what we're talking about, thinking about pivoting through these times. Think of the various ways you can still bring in money that's going to help you bring in that additional stream of income if you're not working at all, or perhaps you know, you're having to take a break of a leave from work and are unpaid at the moment.
Also, something we were talking about just before coming on air is that a lot of people are now going to be at home, even if they're healthy or not healthy, with kids. So just wait and watch what's happening on Amazon, because some products that were not shifting maybe for a few weeks or a few months, all of a sudden people are going to be at home, they're going to spend time on Amazon, they're going to buy stuff. So just watch those products flying off the shelves, because even if they're not in the critical categories that Amazon has listed as the ones they take in for FBA sellers, anything else, there's going to be a demand for it, because we'll need to entertain the children, you'll need to entertain yourself, and you're going to want to just buy stuff. So I'm sure that we're going to see a nice spike in sales over the next few months because of that.
Just to expand on that, I got a cafe next door to me, and someone came round today saying, what did I have I got anything that I could give to them? And they said that they've recently bought deodorants and shower gels on Amazon, whereas she'd never do that before. So the market we was targeting before on Amazon is people that like to shop online. With what's happening at the minute, we've now got that target audience of the supermarket sellers. They can't get to supermarkets, the deliveries aren't coming in. So we've now, what was already a huge target audience on Amazon, we've now expanded that even more into the people that only shop at supermarkets. So it really is a time that sellers need to not.
Absolutely. And if some people are watching tonight and they've not really started an Amazon business yet, any piece of advice you would want to give them?
If you've got the money, now is definitely a time to start. I've said before we started about stocks. So with stocks, a lot of people at this time where an event like a pandemic in the world happens, a lot of people will sell. So that's the same with us. A lot of people won't get involved. They'll be scared. They get all their money in their savings and then they just sit on it. Whereas right now, what we need to be doing is looking at how we can invest, especially with us all being sent home, them kind of things. If you're unpaid from work, you need to be looking at where you can bring in money elsewhere. So right now, the biggest tip is to have a look, especially at getting started.
Yeah. And if you want to know more about how Arbitrage works, Teddy and I are running a webinar, free webinar on the 26th of March at 8 o'clock in the evening. So we're going to run this webinar to really go through what is arbitrage, how you can make money using arbitrage. And in fact, the title of the webinar is how you can make £100 profit for every hour that you work on your Amazon business. And we're going to walk you through how that works and what does that mean. So £100 profit for every hour you put in your Amazon business. So if you're interested, we're putting the link in the comment section of this live tonight, and it's on the 26th of March at 8 p.m. and it's a free training on arbitrage. So join us if you want to learn a bit more about arbitrage, or even if you are an experienced seller, we're going to give you some golden nuggets of information that will help you scale and systemize your business.
Definitely.
What's the most common mistake, Devan, that people make when they start using a prep center? Any funny stories you want to share with us?
We've had some where an item, for example, with them buying it online and they don't see the product themselves, they don't really know what it looks like. We've had some people that have sent products in that are stupidly large, not realizing and thinking they were quite small.
I was one of those in December, wasn't I? With those golf clubs. Well, they weren't real golf clubs, they were kids' golf clubs.
Yeah, we had a few.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. We was like, we're going to have to buy some larger boxes. Some custom boxes made for longer things. But we've had larger things than that and heavier things. And before this hazmat program came in, FB8 multi-tool is a big help, by the way, with knowing what's hazmat and what's not. Before that came in, people would just be seeing like a 6-pack of deodorant, thinking, oh, there's profit on that, we'll send that in. I get it, and I'm thinking, you can't sell this. So then I'm having to process all kinds of returns because they've bought 100 cans of deodorant that they're not even allowed to sell.
Yeah.
That's a huge one, but obviously with the hazmat program now, that's a lot better. Another one is not taking into consideration our fees and thinking that it's the same as when you were doing it yourself. So obviously when you're doing it yourself, the net is kind of like it's zero because it's your time, your business. You're not paying for time, whereas us, you've got that fee. What we've done now this week, I believe, before all this happened, was we've changed our setup. So it used to be a different price for every kind of prep we did, and it was different across all tiers. So now we've made it a lot easier for people to track what profit they're making using just a one fee for all prep. So now whatever tier you're in, so for tier 1, for example, it's 60 pence, and everything, whether it's bubble wrapping, bundling, polybagging, taping, labeling, you know that each item you need to add 60 pence on to what you're buying it for, and you know what profit is. Whereas before you might add 50p on, but when it gets here, it needs a bubble wrapping, it needs bundling, so that's an extra 30p, and that 30p might be the difference between a good item and a bad item.
So this set fee per item, the more items someone sends in, the cheaper it becomes. So if someone's sending in 500 units to 1,000, then it goes down to 50, and then it goes down to 40 pence, and then it goes down to 30 pence. So the more you use the prep center, the cheaper it becomes per item.
Yeah.
So the more profit you can make. So it's a nice way of doing it because it encourages people to sell more and make more profit. And the more profit they make, the cheaper it's costing them. So therefore they make more profit. So that's good. It's really good. So what's the best way to get in touch with you, Devan?
The best way is go to our website because all the contact details are on there. Whatever way, I know some people don't like speaking on the phone. Some people prefer to email, some people prefer to phone. We've got a live chat on there. So there's really, I think there's 3, maybe 4 points of access. So there is a form at the bottom. You can just a question, come straight to us. The email address is at the bottom. That can come straight to us as well. And we've got a telephone as well. So any of those, and then we can get in touch with you.
Great. So we're going to put the link to your website in the comments section. But I think you wanted to offer something really special to anyone watching tonight. Do you want to share that with us?
Yeah. So with a partnership that myself and Online Seller Circle have had, I'm looking to reward the people that are joining us for the live tonight. We know you've taken time out of your evening. So for the first 10 people tonight, we're looking to give you a free sign up, which would normally cost $49.95. So that can kind of take the pressure off being worried about any payment at all. We're also giving you your first 100 items free. So you can then sign up, send 100 items in still at no cost to yourself. So you've tested our service with 100 items, and then you can decide from there whether you enjoy it and you want to stay, or whether you don't enjoy it and you'd rather prep yourself. And not only that, but if you decide to stay with us, on your first full invoice, we'll give you 10% off of your price as well for being part of the Online Seller Circle. So,
wow. So basically you waive the sign-up fee of $49.95, and for the first 100 items that people ship, there's absolutely no cost. And then for the first month, they get 10% off as well. So no reason not to try and join a prep center. So make sure you look at the link in the comment section, everyone. This is an amazing deal. We didn't get that when we signed up.
No, we didn't.
We need to talk. And also make sure that you join us on the 26th for the webinar at 8 o'clock. Also, if you are using our deal service, FB8 Deal Source, we just want to reassure you that we have had meetings with our VAs in the Philippines and in India to really brief them about sourcing products that now fit the new categories that Amazon has declared as the limited categories we can send products in. So for the next few days or weeks or whatever long it takes, you're not going to see products in toys and games or anything that you can't send in the Amazon warehouse. Also, from a moral point of view, we don't want to take advantage of the situation. So we've asked our virtual assistants not to look for deals like hand sanitizers and face masks and gloves, because these are critical items that people will need, and we don't want to make money on the back of that. That's a moral choice that we make as a company, and I'm sure most of you will agree that it's the right thing to do. But at the end of the day, we all run businesses. So yes, you will be selling products at a profit, but this is a business. But we don't want to take advantage of the situation by offering you products that you could just literally make profit on the back of people's health and welfare. So I just want to tell you that if you are using FB8 Deal Source, this is a commitment that we've made to our customers.
Definitely. And if you're not using FB8 Deal Source, and like I said earlier on, it is a little bit more difficult to source those products, and you want to sign up, we actually open the doors. We closed them during the last launch because we were at capacity, but we've brought on an additional member of staff so that we can help to kind of support you through your journey, whether you are selling a season pro or you're just getting started and you're struggling to find those deals. So we'll put a link in the comment section, which is a discounted link, and if you do want to sign up, we've only got 12 places available. That's our maximum capacity, no scarcity there. That's all we can accept on the program. But like Steve said, we are now sourcing in those limited categories for you, so that every single deal you're getting is profitable, and you, as long as you're eligible, you will be able to sell it and send it into obviously Devan when you sign up to his prep centre this evening.
Great. Cool. Any questions for Devan from people watching?
I think we've answered the majority of them. So Jacobus' last question was kind of how much do you charge, and we went through those tiers. Anyone that's looking to sign up or at least inquire and have a look at the prices, click on the link that's in the comments section. I've just posted that live for you. If you're watching the replay, still get in touch with Devan tomorrow to see if one of those 10 spaces has or is still available, so you can sign up. But the pricing and the tiers are on your website, aren't they, Devan? So they'll be able to see what they'll be looking to pay per product.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and what's worth saying is don't lose out on this first 10 places simply because you don't have to send things in tomorrow. If you want to start next week, or you want to wait for the end of this week to blow over to see what Amazon are going to be doing, get signed up so we can get you processed. And then when you want to send items in, you can get them in straight away without us having to set anything up, set the prep sheet up, get you any questions answered. So if you get signed up, any questions, just fire them away at me, and then we can sort you out.
Cool. We've just got one more question. Hey, Lorraine. Lorraine's just logged in. We've covered the majority of the first part of your question, Lorraine, so do watch the replay. But really good point, actually. What's your contingency in terms of staffing? So if, obviously, you've got a team of preppers at the warehouse, you've got lots of clients sending stock in on a daily basis. If your team goes down, what's the contingency there to maintain that operation for your clients?
So we're starting off with kind of going off kind of the government's advice of kind of prevent to start with. So we've got lots of, luckily, I don't know how, but we've got lots of hand wash here. We're not going to run out of that. We're ensuring that everybody with us touching deliveries all the time, we need to make sure we're keeping our hands washed and things. Anybody taking the advice of government, again, anybody with a cough or temperature doesn't come in. Luckily, none of us have been hit so far, so we're currently running as we would. If anybody does, we have lots of family members. We've got young people that we can get access to that will happily just jump in and get work when they need to. And we'll be able to start straight away. So we can just start them on 0-hour contracts. So we should have access enough to anybody that wanting work to just come and fill in for us if we need them to.
Perfect.
And you were mentioning before we went live that in North Lincolnshire, the incidence of coronavirus is quite low. So hopefully it stays like that.
Definitely. Yeah.
We're really far away from London, which seems to be the most hit place. I know, I think I heard today that a third of all cases that have been confirmed in the UK are in London alone. So I checked 3 days ago, and North Lincolnshire, which is not just Scunthorpe, which is where we're based, but it's quite a broad area, only had 1 case confirmed. So
Right.
there'll be more than that because obviously more aren't confirmed, but it means that we're quite a low state compared to the rest of the UK, which is really good news for us.
Great.
Perfect. Brilliant. No, that's it.
Right.
Lillian says thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Devan, for your time tonight. Thanks everyone for watching. If you have any more questions, please post them on the Facebook group, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So thank you, Davey.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks, Devan. Bye for
Bye,
now.
everyone.